boiling some noodles right now. So, I want to tell you guys about something that I think you aren't keeping in mind. So a lot of you are looking at right now and trying to determine what will be possible given any capable collision that could occur between us in the future based on how right I am. And whenever you can't beat me in the argument, you're just hoping to use physical stalls, which are arguments themselves, but they're not spoken, they're just acted on, which prevents me from being bigger than you by the time we meet this collision. I like to say that even if I'm not bigger than you by the time we beat the collision, at that point, I will have so much mass that the story itself will make you a bad person for attacking me. Before I describe this, I want to go try and touch on this topic as best as I can. I'll probably do it later on in another video. This little method here of stunning me with a large bout of confusion. So as I told you guys, I got molested, and to make a long story short, I pretty much was like, let's say I was cast in child pornos, and as I got older, I felt really guilty about what happened and started telling people, and some of my competitors took it upon themselves to just say some of the things that I did while I was being molested, and pretend that they didn't understand the whole story and that I was a victim, because if they only said these details without context, they could use that to attack my character and justify reducing my ability to compete with them. So there I have a full-on murder boner, if you will. And I know some of you would like to say I can't say things like that because of what's happened, but pretty much what you're telling me is because I got molested, I'm not allowed to have a normal and casual and healthy sexual life or understanding. And that, you know, that lets the molesters win. That lets the people who had the goal of molesting me get what they wanted. So I say you can die. But let's move on from that. What happens here is that somebody brings up these details, or they just try to confuse me while I'm talking. And I noticed it while I was working out. When I keep count of what push-up I'm on or what sit-up I'm on, all of a sudden I'm stunned. And I can tell that it's the same kind of thing that causes me to make a mistake while I'm talking, where I sense this little dialogue of intended confusion where somebody wants me to lose track of it, because if I lose track of it, then I'm not organized enough to keep up with what I'm doing. These little subtle arguments that aren't stated but are rather just acted on. I would like to say that everyone who exists right now, even if they aren't aware of me, even if they aren't watching my videos, even if they don't know who I am, they are still relative to me. That right now, there is a line in time, social structure, and physical placement that can be connected from me to everyone else that exists. And this includes all of the people that you idolize, all of the people that you think have greater influence than me. Now that we gotten all that away, I asserted those things. Gonna go ahead and break this down later on, figure out how to better word the strategy of keeping me confused so that I can't keep track of what's going on. Because we also know, me as a verbal communicator, somebody who knows how to piece things together, comprehend what's going on, the best strategy that any opponent has is to create general confusion for me, to keep me from being able to comprehend what's happening so that I can't say it, and then they can't be held accountable for it. Okay. So a lot of people have this weird thing going on where they exist in a short-range comprehension with recognition of a long time, but their comprehension is always immediate and always trying to create a short-range, immediate hold on what's physically happening around them. So even if they can keep track of a longer timeline, like their history, and most people could not tell you beat for beat everything they've done in the last 7 months. No one could do that, right? So there's a short-term comprehension that we use to compensate for this, to keep things where they are right now. As the environment changes, we use shorthand comprehensions, which is little short ideas that keep us in place and give us the confidence to keep betting our mass. And to give you a better example, because I feel like I haven't stated it well enough for you to understand it here. Let's say that I make an argument that's going to create a big change over time. And that argument looks like this. It's just going to make these structural changes to everything that's happening. We're going to end up here. But we're here now. as we go through these things, everyone is going to kind of have a status quo reset the entire time in segments while these changes occur. And while these changes occur, those segment resets, they will always use shorthand comprehensions because they cannot comprehend the bigger change or structure that is moving on them as a whole. And so here, somebody might use something like he's too small, or it doesn't matter. I don't know. I can't think of anything. I don't do these, so I don't know how to put. I don't know a good example. A good example would be this isn't what's happening. This is all that's going on. This isn't what's happening. This is all what's going on. Dude, that's not gonna happen because this is what's happening right now. Dude, that's not happening because, and they'll do that this entire time, just comprehending that's not happening. All these little logic structures that they use to bet mass along with the Etawabi exploit. Until we get to the point where it's actually happening. But by this point, these guys will have changed their course. I think I got you here. These guys would have changed their course. But these shorthand comprehensions will pretty much just attempt to grab the situation right now and steer it in a direction that they can hold. So pretty much if they see me working out every day and getting bigger, they'll say, man, he's gonna burn out. And that's the shorthand comprehension. They use that and they try to frustrate it and turn it this way so that I don't get bigger, right? Stuff like that. So they can keep a shorthand comprehension of this longest segment of what's going on, but because they aren't paying attention or don't know how to comprehend it, they can't comprehend the entire line of structure or its goal. So yeah, all that put together should solve a lot of my problems. What else was there? There's nothing else. So yeah, I'm gonna focus on this here, this little confusion tactic. I mean, the thing is even if the thing about this tactic is even if I describe it effectively and all the way, it's just gonna happen again. And because I'm confused, I'm not gonna have confidence that I described it effectively. And I know I've described it several times so far. So I know that that's what this is, that's what's going on, and it's an amalgamated. And that point of how we're all relative to each other, that line that can be drawn, that means that our thoughts, that shared space that is our thinking, our comprehension, our perception, the idiosphere, we are actively fighting and competing with each other in that sphere to change what we are physically going through, by the way. So that means that not only are you guys in a physical relative place to me right now, you are also in a ideological relative place to me right now. And that ideological relativity is where we're doing a lot of our fighting. However, as we get bigger, as the weakest get weeded out, as the people who are wrong collapse and crash, those who still appear to be right will start getting more of an opportunity to physically collide, to physically interact with each other. As I've stated before in the past, your idiospheric position, meaning what you're thinking, the pretty much coordinate of your thoughts, has a direct correlation to where you physically are compared to others. That's a fact, that's the truth. And I know that there's that law we want to add that seems to add spontaneity and the ability for new things to happen. New things are going to happen anyway. Existence is already a contradiction occurring. That means that it's already frustrated, it's already doing something new always. It's already going to be doing that forever. So there's no need to worry about that. But this argument that life is more complex than that. It's that whole thing about that jargonistic, let me find it, that jargonistic structure. This right here, that jargonistic structure that seems to make things more complicated than they actually are. Remember that. So, yeah. And I'm saying this indirect threat and an attempt to intimidate exactly who it is that's trying not to be intimidated right now. You know who you are. You know who you are. Hey, you know who you are. Because at this point, you've been using too many of these shorthand comprehensions without comprehending the entire situation. And it's like I said, I'm still getting better at it. These shorthand comprehensions, what they would do is they would make me go, damn, they don't understand the situation fully. I can't fucking attack them in full. Like, I can't punish them for this whole structure because they only know this much. But now it's getting to that point where understanding the Etawabi exploit has given me permission to punish you with this, even if you only say this much of it. Even if you look at me and you say only this detail to attack me, I can punish you for all of this because you decided to use a part of its structure. And the whole structure victimized me. And you using even a part of it is you participating in that structure so you can receive the structure's consequences without me having any concern for your well-being. Okay, yeah, I think that's all set. And it's all set. Oh, Okay, you think I'm a chicken? Okay, all right, fine. All right, okay, let's keep going. Let's keep betting here. Let's keep going.